racialization goes back to shaping people's opinions about them because of the ramifications that the police bring to some people and not to others. Point and blank, the Trayvon Martin case, unfortunately, like, why is this case an exception, you know, etc. Like, who are the police impacting negatively? Who are the police, you know, like, what's going on around, like,
like, I'm from Tampa, is in West Tampa, and, there's, public housing that's about to, the city wants to, like, evict everyone and destroy the housing, and we're talking about, like, okay, if the city, like, actually goes through with this plan, like, if we get the local community, like, the people living in those units, like, out to protest, like, we found out, well, if one of them gets charged with a felony, like, even, like, peacefully resisting an officer or something more serious, like assault on an officer, even if it's a bogus charge, and it's a felony, their whole family could get kicked out of public housing and not get a Section 8 voucher and be homeless. So, I mean, I think people initially were like, yeah, we're going to get everyone, you know, to protest, and it's kind of like, well, if you live in public housing, you can't really get arrested without making your whole family homeless.
Yeah. So I've seen it in a few different places where, yeah, the cops like, oh, come on, they're here to protect us, like, blah, 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 blah. I've had good experiences with them, and, like, totally refusing to recognize that, well, yeah, because that's because of your privilege, and not willing to listen to anybody, and also, like, I've seen a lot of people, well, that's not a race issue, no, come on, like, that's not sexist, like, this is more, like, skipping steps, yeah, like, oh, well, I'm already there, like, yeah, we're all the same, but yeah, good-hearted, but no, I don't know, I see it a lot.
How about this phrase here? It's just one race, man, what are you talking about? No, we speak human race, you know? What does that do for people who have had race impact their lives every day?
Well, I don't know what the answers are. I've never ceased to be amazed at my ignorance sometimes. I grew up in the 60s when I was watching the race wars, on television, and I've just been absolutely astounded by the racism after President Obama was elected. It's just overwhelming, and I just cannot believe the outward racism is being expressed by some particular political parties. I think just by it's what I said earlier about occupying consciousness. You have to bring it out there. You have to let people know that this is what's really happening. Early on in my educational years, I took a master's program, but it was drugs and society. Where the first drug laws came about were the result of really racism, targeting certain races. And I think just by the Occupy movement, putting it out there, saying this is what's, these are racially motivated things.
So doing what? Acknowledging
yeah.
that race plays
absolutely.
into all of
Right.
the things that people
Right.
are fighting.
And
not saying, oh, it's just one race. Oh, we're the 99%.
Well,
we're all together.
it's not the way society is run.
Right.
It astounds me. And I guess I'm pretty naive, I guess. I've always been kind of led a sheltered life, I guess. So it never ceases to amaze me how deep it is.
An example of that in direct action, direct example from the Occupy action. When 11 of us were arrested at once. The 3 people in our group that were black when we got to jail, were the only 3 that were dressed out and put into population while we were held in process, immediately separated. It was outrageous. So it's even a different experience within our protest.
part of this is acknowledging that, you know, this particular movement is very new, right? But that there have been people that have been fighting class